Refuge started as a conversation with myself. Basically, I wanted to relook at, or actually to reflect on my identity as an art practitioner and also my methodology. And the challenge was not to work with the conventional materials that I've been working with. So I was just out looking for unusual things, and I happened to see this polypropylene loop pins. They're usually used for price tags for clothing. So I thought it's actually quite an interesting material. And then it kind of went on to recruiting a group of people to help me with the assembly, because we need to physically loop and connect every piece of the loop pins because they come as a single strand. The next stage, and which is actually the final stage, is the putting out of the artwork. So I drew up a certain diagram, but then it's always very different when it's on site. So the diagram actually serves as a starting point. So the actual construction and so-called composition started here, because you have to go up with the first piece and see how it responds to the space. Refuge to me is actually, in this case, is very different from how you would conventionally perceive refuge, because I don't see it as a physical structure or a building or something, but I see it as more in the gesture, it's more in the process of making and when you're physically doing something.
I was basically inspired when I visited Bukit Brown Cemetery, which, where 3,000 graves are going to be exhumed for the construction of a highway. And, there are many campaigns going on right now hoping to stop the construction because the space is known for its rich history as well as for the biodiversity of the area. When I visited the place, I realized how beautiful the place was, how tranquil it was, and I wanted to capture the space on this film. And the idea of the converging and diverging narratives is in some ways a reflection of how we tell history and how we selectively leave certain chapters of our history behind. And what was interesting for me during the process of making this film is in being able to let go. Because while I make my films, even in Sandcastle, it is a lot about control. But in the process of making this, I made a conscious decision to allow my collaborators to show me their interpretation of what I had written. And it was about piecing all these elements together. It made me feel like it was a truly collaborative process.
Revising Art, the 10-year series, it is an aspiration of trying to build or to create a certain foundation of an art school. And why it's revising art? Because for the past 10 years, I've been revising it. I keep asking the essence of art, where does it lie? What is its importance? And why 10-year series? It alludes to the famous anticipation of examination answers. So I thought I would invert this concept to how about if you are giving a statement, why not then ask questions or multiple questions? So I thought this series of night lessons that my collaborators and I will be facilitating, it's more of to ask questions about genres of art. For example, how can we unlearn the concept of dance or even music, or to revive again classical studies as a reading material. So it's sort of trying to unlearn what we used to learn or what we are being forced to learn. So I think this is for me, is considered quite a challenge because it be an attempt to sustain the exhibition rather than having something in the gallery for 9 months static. So I'm actually challenging myself, how can I sustain the 9-month exhibition with movements, with process-based learning, and also with something that is always moving and not tangible.